Pakistani Prime Minister has said, we know the Indian side of what they have done, and of course, the way that the troops have been built up, and what they are exercising on the Kashmir region. Are we looking at some kind of conflict perhaps erupting with, for example, detaining these political leaders in Kashmir?
Well, Prime Minister Imran Khan, in his speech in the parliament, drawn the analogy of what is the likely scenario. He said that it's again, we are at the same position which we were previously back in February. The method with which India has been suppressing Kashmiris, he says that he fears that there is a possibility that some of the Kashmiris may blow themselves up, and then again the allegation would be leveled against Pakistan, and that he said that it has been a typical manner with which all these kind of things have been happening. He said if you suppress the people in Kashmir, naturally there would be reaction, and since India has a habit of passing on the bucks onto Pakistan, so there is a possibility that there may be a conventional war with India. And if there is a conventional war, nobody knows what is going to happen. The fact that both countries are nuclear armed, he said he's not having a nuclear blackmail, but he is simply telling the facts, what is the likely scenario. And he made it very clear, that scenario, we are going to lay down our lives. We are not going to be dated by anything, but by any threats, by any military buildup at the borders. So I think what Prime Minister has pointed out, it makes a lot of sense because there is indigenous uprising in India. There is a UN Security Council resolutions over there. There is most recently UN human rights reports on how Indians are actually committing human rights violations over there. Nonetheless, the international community is not paying attention. This is a nuclear flashpoint. Whenever there is a border tension, if there is a conventional war, we had just seen some of its glimpse in February this year. I really doubt that the both countries would be able to contain it.
Well, what will India do if we see, for example, violence erupt out of Kashmir? Are you going to send troops in? Do they have any contingency plans? Have they made any announcements of that sort?
Well, India has already, I think, deployed as many as 900,000 troops and paramilitary forces. It's close to 1 million in a region which has hardly a 12 to 14 million population. You can imagine the scale of the deployment of the Indian troops in disputed valley. So obviously, sooner or later, whenever the curfew is lifted, or there is a possibility of protest at a large scale. And now, right now, as we talk, there is a possibility that some of the militant groups who completely enjoy sports from the streets in Kashmir, they will blow themselves up. And obviously, in this kind of situation, they are left with no option because India is not willing to accept UN mandated at least 17 to 22 Security Council resolutions. There has to be a plebiscite. There has to be a referendum. It is an internationally recognized dispute. Now, India has made it a part of its federal union. It may be far more internal consumption, but the reality on the ground is that the Kashmiris simply hate India. You talk to anybody from Kashmir, they would let you know what is happening there. So by merely using excessive force, India thinks that they can change the demographics over there. India think they can make it a non-issue. That is the most unlikely thing to happen. But only worry that I earlier on pointed out is the possibility that about escalation at the borders. Then, as happened previously, India had already tested its muscles, and then its two fighter jets were downed by Pakistan. One of the pilot was arrested, and after that we had credible reports that both India and Pakistan, they had deployed their missiles. They were about to target their cities. So the third step could have been the nuclear war. Pakistan particularly has prepared its tactical nuclear devices, which means that those can be used within the range of 25 kilometers. It's a dangerous scenario. The world is not paying the attention. And if, God forbid, if there is a nuclear war, every country in the world is going to be affected. It's not only the region.
Okay, I got a final question. If you can answer it briefly. You know, we know that Imran Khan had visited Donald Trump, and we know the relationship that Donald Trump also has with India. But the most recent visit by Imran Khan, and then you have this happening. Do you see any connection with it?
Well, now it is widely perceived in Pakistan that Donald Trump played tricks with the Prime Minister Imran Khan, because he said that the Prime Minister Modi asked him to arbitrate over Kashmir. And the Prime Minister said that we are happy, let there be arbitration. And then in a matter of weeks, we have seen that India made the disputed region as a part of its union. So I think it is because of the situation in Afghanistan that the Americans are interested in Pakistan. Otherwise, India, US has a strategic alliance with India, and obviously it is going to side with India, not with Pakistan.
Thank you, Javed Rana. We appreciate it. Javed Rana talking to us there from Islamabad.